We start off from basketball from 1995 to 1997, Chauncey Billups. Chauncey was a first-team All-American for the Buffaloes. Unanimous All-Big 12 performer as a sophomore in 1996-97. He led the Buffaloes to a 22-10 record, a second-place finish in the inaugural season of the Big 12, and see his first NCAA tournament appearance in 28 years. He averaged 18.5 points, 5.5 rebounds, a little over 5 assists in 55 games before declaring for the NBA draft, where he was the highest Buffalo ever drafted, third overall. He went on to play 17 seasons in the NBA, most notably leading the Detroit Pistons to the 2003-04 title and being named the Finals MVP in the process. Mr. Big Shot, Hall of Famer, Chauncey Billups.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you very much. First, I want to thank God for giving me the gifts and the talents that He gave me. I want to thank my support system here, my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time when I was here at CU. And we have 3 beautiful daughters now, Sierra, Sydney, and Sanaya. My mother and father who are here, who I'm really just a mere reflection of them and what they raised me to be, so I'm very thankful for them. And my brother, who is now a Buffalo, he's a coach here with the staff. I'm very, very proud of him as well. But, tonight I'll just talk a little bit about, how I feel about the University of Colorado and coming to this school and for the reasons why I did, the lessons that I learned here. I kind of fell in love with Colorado. Really, to be honest, it seems kind of strange, but because of CU's football team. When I was like 7th, 8th grade, that's when they was like winning national championship, watching Mike Pritchard and Bieniemy and Hagan and Flanagan, all of these great players. I fell in love with it, and for the reasons, one, football was always my first love. I wasn't that good, but it was my first love. But I fell in love with it because when I would go away to these tournaments and I tell people where I was from, the first thing they would say is, "Oh man, I love that Colorado football team." And that right there is kind of what fueled my fire. That became my dream, to come to this school and to have people one day talk about basketball in that capacity and talk about what maybe the teams that I played on have done. And I was proud enough to say that when I left here, we weren't like the biggest program in the country. We weren't North Carolina and Duke and Kansas, but we were starting to make some strides. And I think we was kind of the start of that. Now you look at the program, Tad and the crew are doing a fantastic job of, continuing to just develop great talent, put guys in the pros. And that's kind of was always my vision, for the University of Colorado basketball. So it was a success, In my 2 years here, I got two stories that stick out in my mind. The first one, and first I want to thank, when I signed here, Coach Joe Harrington was the head coach, and Coach Ricardo Patton, who then took over the program. Those 2 guys really believed in me, and I owe those guys a great deal. They definitely deserve some mention tonight, even though they're not with us tonight. But I really do appreciate their belief in me. So they recruited me, and a lot of other schools recruited me as well. But so my first day of school, I come to school, and I'm thinking high school. So I get dressed all fresh and nice for first day of school. I go to my class, and I walk in. I turn the corner. It's a big auditorium. It's 500 people in this class. Now I'm from Northeast Denver. Pretty much, a diverse neighborhood. I went to George Washington High School. My class was like 30, 35 kids, black, white, Hispanic, mixed, very diverse. So I go into this classroom, it's 500 kids and 2 blacks. And the class was so big that when I looked up, I just seen a speck, so I figured he was black, you know. But I didn't know him, you know. I didn't know him at all. But it was the first time that I had been like intimidated. I really was. So I stayed in for about 10 minutes. I walked out of the class. I walked to the basketball office, sat in front of Coach Patton, and I said, Coach, you got to get me out of this class, man. So he's looking at me, he's like, so what happened? I said, nothing really happened, but there's 500 kids in there, and it's only 2 blacks, and it's not one of my teammates. So I'm not comfortable. So he's looking at me, and he says, so did the professor say something to you? Like, what happened? I said, nah, Coach, nothing happened. I'm just not ready for that. So he looked at me, and he's nodding, and I'm thinking like, okay, I'm getting somewhere. And he looked me in my eyes, and he said, how long did it take you to get over here? I said, it took me about, 6 minutes, 7 minutes. He said, all right, cool. I'm giving you 6 or 7 minutes to get your butt back over there to the class. And I see you at practice at 3. So I'm looking like, dang, this ain't the dude that recruited me that was telling me all this great stuff. But I learned a valuable lesson that day. I really did, you know. And when we talked later, he said, Chauncey, you have to get yourself to a position where you're comfortable being uncomfortable, you know, and things are not going to always be as you think they will be, but you got to hang in there and you got to fight. And I learned a lot that day from him, from that lesson, and I'm forever grateful to him for that one day, because, you know, with that one decision, you know, I could have became this entitled, spoiled athlete that just got every single thing he wanted. So that was a teachable moment for me, and I appreciate it. And the next story, I know my mom is going to shake her head on this one, but so it's the first day we're at the bookstore, me and a very, very dear friend of mine, was a basketball player named Matt Daniel. And, you know, this is the first time I used to get my textbooks in high school and they just giving it to us at class, but now we're at the bookstore with money, and I got my list, basically my grocery list of books that I got to buy. So I'm going around looking at books. I go to the math department, and they have these books, and they're wrapped in plastic, and right underneath the plastic are $10 off Blockbuster cards. So I'm like, man, Blockbuster that's my store, because I saw my music, I can rent and buy movies. Like, that was my favorite store at the time. So I'm like, okay, $10 off. So me being me, I got my guy with me. I take them out. I take about 6 or 7 of them out of the wrapper, put them in my pocket. And so did my guy. And by the way, where he's from, he didn't need $10 off, but he was with me, you know. He came with me. So I put him in my pocket. I'm going up to go check out. Guy taps me on the shoulder. He says, we need to see y'all 2 in the back. So I'm still not thinking nothing. I'm like, all right, cool. It's a long line. He's just going to get us through in the back. We cool. Right? So we get in the back. He turns on the film, and he's like, I seen you guys took those little gift cards, and that's shoplifting. So I couldn't lie to him on the film. So I was like, yeah. I went in my pocket, gave him mine. I had like 7. Matt gave him his 1. And oh man, so he calls Coach in the office, and Coach was like, just send him over here when you get done with him. They wrote us out this ticket, like it's similar to like a speeding ticket, but it was the campus police in there. So they wrote us out the ticket, then they let us go. We went to Coach's office, and you know, it got crazy. He called my mom, and she said a lot of inappropriate for this speech words, but it was appropriate at the time. And you know, it's funny, that night, it was a Monday night, so I'm at home, I'm in a dorm, I'm watching Monday Night Football. And across the bottom of the screen, like a tornado warning thing, comes across and it says, University of Colorado guard Chauncey Billups arrested today for shoplifting. And I'm like, arrested? But okay, I guess a ticket, whatever. So I learned a valuable lesson at that time. my parents, my mom for sure, she was just so embarrassed. So much so that she took off of work for a week because she didn't want to be seen with the publicity behind, my bonehead mistake. And I learned that day, that, it just wasn't really just about me, and the people that believed in me, the people that cared about me, the people that raised me, who were always so proud of me, they had to deal with any mistake that I made. And from that day forward, I promised them and I promised myself that I will always do nothing but make them proud. And I've stood to that because of the lesson that I learned here. But to wrap that story up so I can get out of here, because I know I'm going long, he's going to tackle me in a second. But so I had 2 games, I think it was a 2-game suspension that I had. So I come back, playing a game, didn't even play good, but I was just happy to be back. And the next day, the very next day, there's an article in the paper, and I still have it, it's hilarious. And the headline says, Chauncey has a blockbuster night, right? Oh my goodness, I still have it. And I look at it all the time and I laugh and I tell my little girl stories and stuff. But I just want to say, thank you and congratulations to all the other inductees today. I couldn't be happier to be going in. I'm so prideful. People know my affinity with this state and this school. If I had it all over again, I'll do the same thing. I'll probably even take those cards. But thank you guys so much, and God bless you.